The long-awaited moment arrived on the 7th day of diving.
あ、産卵してる。これ卵。これピンク色の卵が産卵してますね。産卵始まったようです。
For the first time in roughly 30 years, NTV cameras captured the moment of coral spawning in Tokyo Bay.
あー、すごいすごいすごい。わー、一気に来た。あー、すごいね。
The underwater crew filmed the spawning over 3 days. What we witnessed was a moment of life being born beyond imagination. The spawning was captured about 2 kilometers off Katsuyama fishing port in Chiba Prefecture. Coral had already been living here for some time. 29 years ago, NTV broadcast.
海の中からの中継をご覧いただきましょう。
場所は東京湾の入り口、千葉の海です。そこにはサンゴが密集しているんです。
This was Japan's northernmost coral, shown via an underwater live feed. At the time, people were amazed that coral could even exist in Tokyo Bay. To see what had become of that coral, we dove again last year. The number and area of corals had both increased. Now that the coral is thriving again, we wanted to capture coral spawning in Tokyo Bay for the first time in 30 years. So we decided to take on the challenge of filming coral spawning, which occurs once a year in summer. We asked for help from an expert.
でだいぶ様子が昔と違ってるっていう話を聞いてるので、すごい今日は楽しみにどういうふうに変わってるか見たいなと思います。
Igarashi has been studying coral for many years. He also participated in filming the coral spawning in Tokyo Bay 30 years ago. This time, he joined our team again. Seeing Tokyo Bay's coral for the first time in years, he says the changes under the sea were beyond what he had imagined.
いやー、すごい変わった。懐かしさもあるし、大きく成長してるのは頼もしくも思ったし、とりあえずびっくりはしました。
The full-scale investigation began in July this year. It was found that the coral area had expanded to about 4 times what it was 30 years ago. According to Igarashi, a prolonged 8-year meandering of the Kuroshio Current caused sea temperatures to rise, making Tokyo Bay an environment suitable for coral to thrive. Species that hadn't been seen here before also appeared, including table corals that prefer warmer waters. On the other hand, seaweeds like Kajime kelp, which once grew thickly around the coral, have now almost completely disappeared due to rising water temperatures. Regarding coral spawning, Igarashi said,
今のサンゴのいい状態を見ると、多分間違いなく今年も産卵してくれるんじゃないかなと期待してます。
The key to filming is predicting when the coral will spawn. At a meeting with local diving guides,
水温の変化も最近激しいのご存知の通りで、そういう変化が激しいのと海底の地形と潮の流れの関係とかいろいろあるからやっぱり難しいです。ここで予測立てるのはね、サンゴ礁とは違って。
東京湾のハードルの高さって本当それですよ。でどれだけね、東京湾のサンゴ産卵見てるか知ってるかっていないもん。本当いないですよ。
Because there has been little research, there's very little data on the coral in Tokyo Bay. making spawning prediction extremely difficult. Even so, they repeatedly checked the coral's condition to narrow down the most likely dates.
多分これの状態だと2、3日中に間違いなく大規模な産卵のピークが来るんじゃないかと思います。
He set August 22nd as the first target date. Following that, we began diving every day. At a depth of 10 meters, in the silence of the sea, we waited about 2 hours each day. Then, on August 22nd, the predicted date, the team was ready and focused. When we arrived at the dive site at 6 p.m.,
本当ですね。まだありますように。
After about 2 hours,
午後8時ですが、サンゴの産卵の兆候はまだありません。いつかな。
no spawning that day either. Worry grew. Would we really be able to capture it? But on the 5th day of diving, August 25th, a glimmer of hope appeared.
あー、出た。おー。あー、出てます。
It was only a small amount, but coral in Tokyo Bay had begun to spawn. Coral spawning happened several times over a few days, and this first one accounted for less than 1%. Even so, a sense of relief spread through the team.
肩の荷が折れましたマジでおじさん。
私嬉しかった見れて。
いくつになってもね嬉しいもんだよ。何回見ても。
The next day, we hoped to film a larger spawning event. But high waves kept the boats from leaving port for 2 days. We feared that the spawning might have already finished. 3 days later, we finally checked the coral again.
サンガラはねまだやってない。それは間違いない。
A moment of relief. The following day,
これサンゴの根元にピンク色なの分かりますかね。ちょっと寄ってみます。これピンク色今にも出そうですね。
signs of imminent spawning appeared, something we hadn't seen before. Then,
あ、産卵し始めました。次々とサンゴから上にと放たれていきます。
for the first time in 30 years, the camera captured the rare moment of coral spawning in Tokyo Bay.
サンゴの産卵を祝福してるかのように、ヤドカニがダンスしてるように見えます。これ卵を食べてるんでしょうか。魚が口パクパクしてます。
Most of the newly released eggs are eaten by fish and other creatures. Only a tiny fraction survive to continue the life cycle. The spawning lasted about 20 minutes. The sea was filled with a dreamlike glow. The next day, we witnessed a scene beyond our imagination. The sea was tinted pink. and marine life moved energetically all around. This was the mass coral spawning of Tokyo Bay.
何もみたいね、本当にね、なんかね、本当感動するね。黒潮の大蛇行が終わって、また元のね、東京湾の海に戻っていく、海藻の森に戻っていくような気がするんです。でもそういう時も変わらずね、このサンゴが維持されて、で未来もうね、次の世代の人たちもこのサンゴの産卵を見てほしいなと思います。
Tiny, shining lives drift in the dark sea. Even as Tokyo Bay changes, the corals keep to their ancient rhythm of life, without end.